Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Meadsy69 and welcome back to some Hold My Beer. First up, we have a T62A and it is driven by James Shue. And what a game this is. What a game this is. As we know, the T62A is kind of a good tank. It's kind of a good tank after it has received buff after buff after buff after buff. Now, since update 6.9 with the heavy buffs, I have had so many high damage replays. I mean, I'm not talking about 5, 6, 7k games. I'm talking about 8k mainly. And as you see last week, I have also received a 9,000 damage game as well in the T22. So it's not all about the heavy buff. It's not all about heavies coming into meta. You're going to see that mediums still do the work, and sometimes it's just more damage for them. I mean, you're going to see this game, if the heavies wouldn't have had that heavy buff, then James wouldn't have had over 8,000 damage. It would still be in the 7k, which is still pretty decent, but it's not 8k. So he went left, and it's going to start off pretty slow, this game. It does start off actually very, very slow. So he comes to the left side, but no one on the enemy team are really pushing to the left side. And at the moment, there is the TDs in the middle at the back, and there is a couple of the heavies to the right side. And no medium tank or no... Oh, sorry, yawning there. No light tank have decided to push this way. And you can just see the T62 on the enemy team. He's gone for the middle. And this, I don't know what he's playing at. I mean, he knows that there's some TDs there. Maybe because the E4 was spotted, I don't know. But the Jaegeru, we know that the Jaegeru is in that middle. And James is going to try and just go for a few shots, see if he can blind shot. Unfortunately, doesn't get any damage into the Jaegeru. And the Sheridan, has now taken that attention from that Jaegeru. So James can push forward. Now, the T62 Fearless has come back to help. So James is going to push, doesn't quite get that shot. And you can see nothing's really gone to plan at the moment. I mean, the T62 Fearless, he's down very low. The Death Star on his team is gone, so they are one tank down. And the Sheridan now rushes and takes out that T62. So it now leaves two quick tanks against this Jaegeru. And he's going to do a little bit of a mistake there. He thought he was going to get a bounce on his turret, but the Jaegeru does manage to get him and almost take half of his hit points. So this is where it's going to start to change. The damage is going to start to go up and up and up and up and up. And he's going to start playing a lot better. So there goes the Jaegeru. But at this time, it is now a 4 versus 5. He's brang the grill down to a one-shot. And the E50M can take him out to bring it back on level terms. Now, there's still quite a few hit points to get through. And the Foch 155 just went on a full YOLO mission. And the E50M is trying to help him out. But the T62 now needs to get with the team. He needs to help before his mediums and his TD get taken out. So at the moment, it is still a 4 versus 4. I mean, we can see that there's still a full hit point E100 with 2,750 hit points to get through. Now, that is the negative side of the HP buff. It's going to take you a lot longer to clear these heavy tanks. But if you do manage to do it, there's a lot of hit points. That's a lot of free hit points if you do manage to do it. Now, his last two remaining teammates are pretty low hit points. One's a one-shot, and you can just see there, the other is on around 600 hit points, the Foch. The E100 is still full hit points. But at the moment, he's going for distance. He's going for distance. There's no point getting close. Because if he gets close to that E100, that's a lot of hit points to get through. And it's not going to be easy to get through them. So the E4 gets taken out. The Sheridan tries to flank around. He misses his shot on that E50M. And James is able to take him out for his first kill. bringing it now down to a 3-on-2. So they did overtake on guns for a moment there, but the Foch has now been clear. So they bring it down to a 2-on-2. And he's not rushing in yet. I mean, there's still 2 minutes left on the clock, and when you've got this much hit points to get through, I mean, there's 2,300 on a mouse to get through, and around the same or 1,600 now for the E100. So he knows the mouse is coming, and luckily he come around this corner without pointing his gun to this side. He had his gun literally pointed in the middle, and that's going to come back to haunt him very, very soon. So I love what he's doing here. He can see the position of this mouse, and he's in the open, and he was willing to take a shot from the mouse there to get close, because he knows as soon as he gets close to this mouse, there really isn't too much he can do about it. But the mouse does manage to take the E50M. So James is now on nearly just over 6,000 damage. And at the moment, there's nothing this mouse could do. He's literally been ripped apart. So James is going to get close, and he's going to try and get a bounce on his turret. And as you know, this tank is very low to the ground. It's got really, really good turret armor, but he wasn't able to get that bounce. So he does take out the mouse, 6.7k damage, and he still has 1,600 hit points to try and get through from this E100. The time is running out, and just like he did with the mouse, he was willing to take a shot. He had to risk it. He had no choice but to risk it, and it does pay off. He gets very lucky. 28 hit points. It's only going to take a tiny nudge from this E100. There's one nudge, 12 damage. It leaves him on 16. He needs to be careful. 26 seconds left on the clock, and he can take him out for his third kill. 8,364 damage, 1,833 base XP. Well played, James Shu. 0-2 from the Pincer clan. And you can see 39 shots, 29 only penned. So he missed out on 10 shots, but he did a really, really good job. Next up, Laylo. We're going to watch a KV3, something a bit different. I mean, usually I would put a couple of 8K games into the same video, but we're going to split them up a bit. But we do have quite a lot of 8K games, but we also have a lot of other tier games as well. And Laylo is driving the KV3. Out of all tanks, a KV3, not known to be a great tank. I mean, it does have pretty good armor if you're angled correctly, and when you're top tier, just like Laylo is here, there is 4 tier 6s, and the KV3 is not really spoke about. I mean, it's not the best of tanks. I'm not going to lie. It isn't the best of tanks. It's pretty slow. You can see there the traverse is pretty slow. The reload is 12.6 seconds, so it's got quite a long reload. The penetration, again, it's just a typical heavy. It's just a typical Russian heavy with armor, long reload, and it is really, really slow. So a Tiger 1 is not really a tank you want to be coming up one versus one in, because the Tiger 1 does have the speed, it now has the armor, and it also has the DPM. I mean, look at that bottom plate. Luckily, the Tiger does decide to start turning, so Laylo does get an easy shot into that Tiger. And now again, the Type 64. So Laylo's going to go for the HE, 573 HE damage. Bye-bye Type 64. So already doesn't seem like they've done a lot of work, but still 2.2k damage is still a good job if the game ends now in a tier 7, especially for the KV3. So not many people play the KV3 now, and I do admit it's not the best of tank. It does its job. But for me now, these kind of tanks are just typical Russian heavies with a big gun. It's slow and a long reload. But Laylo's actually going to do great, absolutely great in this game, and they're going to pull off the damage that you rarely see in a KV3. So far they've pumped up 3,000 damage. Hasn't blocked a lot, I mean 440, but they haven't really been angling the tank and trying to go for them bounces. They're just going to try and go for the damage. Might as well. There's now only 3 tanks left alive against 5. He's going to try and see if he can get that shot on the Type 58. Not yet, but they're still patient. He's going to wait, and in the end, they do give up. So there goes the T-43 on his team. He doesn't quite yet want to rush. I definitely think he should start rushing a little bit now, which exactly is what he is doing, because he does have his team behind him. So there's the Type 58, does get a nice bounce from him, and you can see he's trying to angle up from the VK30-01 as well. And because it has a long reload, just look, he's not looking at moving until the reload gets really down to quite low. So by the time he gets to the hill, he would have reloaded. This Type 58 has just literally been torn apart, and he decides to start rushing now. As soon as the KV-3 is reloaded, the Type 58 decides to rush, but he did take a shot from that Type 58, sorry. So it's now a 4 versus 2. Should be a walk in the park, and they are on 4,168 damage. But there's still a little bit of hit points to get through. There's just over 1,000 hit points to get through from the enemy KV-3. And as you can see, can still go through the front plate like butter. It can still go through that front plate like absolute butter. These kind of tanks are better for side scraping. Try and side scrape in this tank, and you will receive quite a lot of bounces, because it's not a bad tank. It's not a bad tank, but I wouldn't say it's a great tank, but it's not bad. That is basically it about this tank. Other than that, there's not much more to say on the tank itself, but that was a very, very nice replay. Done a great job and ended on just over 5,000 damage. Gets the ace, top gun, high caliber, makes almost 60,000 credits as well, which is not bad for a tech tree tank. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With